the lantern keeper of Mount Koya. In the shadow of Mount Koya, where ancient cedars whispered secrets to the wind, lived a lantern keeper named Taro. His home was a humble shack perched on a cliff overlooking a winding path that pilgrims took to reach the temple at the mountain's peak. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Taro lit a single lantern and hung it from a gnarled pine. Its faint glow guided travelers through the darkness, a beacon of safety amid the treacherous rocks and mist. Taro was no monk, nor had he ever studied the sutras. He was a man of few words, his face weathered by decades of mountain air, his hands calloused from tending the lantern. Yet the pilgrims revered him. They spoke of his light as a symbol of the Buddha's compassion, a silent vow to ease their journey. Taro never thought much of it. To him, the lantern was just a task, a habit born from the day he'd found it, abandoned and flickering on the path as a boy. One autumn night, as the leaves turned crimson and gold, a young woman appeared at Taro's door. Her name was Hana, and her eyes carried a heaviness that belied her youth. She wore a tattered robe, her hair tangled with twigs, and her hands clutched a small bundle wrapped in cloth. "I seek the temple," she said, her voice trembling. "I've lost everything, my home, my family, my purpose. I need answers." Taro nodded, stepping aside to let her in. The wind howled outside, rattling the shack's wooden walls. He offered her a bowl of rice and a cup of tea, then sat silently as she ate. When she finished, she looked at him expectantly. "You're the lantern keeper," she said. "They say you guide people to wisdom. Tell me, why does life hurt so much?" Taro scratched his chin, his gaze drifting to the lantern swaying outside. "I don't know about wisdom," he said. "I just light the way. But if you're hurting, maybe it's because you're holding on too tight." Hannah frowned. "Holding on? To what?" "I've lost it all." Taro pointed to her bundle. "What's that?" She hesitated, then unwrapped the cloth. Inside was a cracked porcelain cup, its glaze chipped and faded. "It was my mother's," she said. "The last thing I have of her. The fire took everything else." Taro studied the cup, then handed it back. "It's broken," he said simply. Her eyes flashed with anger. "Of course it's broken. That's why it hurts." He shook his head. "No, it hurts because you think it's still a cup." Hannah stared at him, bewildered. Taro stood and beckoned her to follow. Outside, the night was thick with mist, the lantern's glow a faint halo. He knelt by the pine and picked up a fallen leaf, its edges curling with decay. "This was green once," he said. "Now it's not. It doesn't fight the wind or cling to the branch. It falls, and the tree lives on." She crossed her arms. "I'm not a leaf. I'm a person." "Same thing," Taro said. "You're changing like everything else. That cup isn't your mother. It's just clay that's at its time. You're the one keeping it alive and keeping the pain alive with it." Hannah's hands tightened around the bundle. "So I should just throw it away? Forget her." Taro shrugged. "Throw it, keep it, doesn't matter. What matters is why you're holding it. Is it love, or is it chains?" She fell silent, the wind carrying her unspoken thoughts into the night. Taro returned to his shack, leaving her by the lantern. Hours passed, and when dawn broke, Hannah was gone. The cup sat on the ground beneath the pine, its pieces scattered among the leaves. Days later, a monk descended from the temple, his robes pristine despite the rugged path. He carried a staff and a small sack of rice, an offering for Taro. "The woman you met, Hana, reached us," the monk said. "She's taken vows." She spoke of a lantern keeper who taught her the Dharma without a single sutra. Taro grunted, accepting the rice. "I didn't teach her anything. She figured it out herself." The monk smiled. "That's the truest teaching. To light the way and let the walker find the path." Years passed, and Taro grew old. His hands trembled as he lit the lantern each night, but he never missed a day. One winter, a storm swept through Mount Koya, fierce and unrelenting. The pines snapped, the lantern shattered, and when the pilgrims climbed the path again, they found Taro's shack empty. No one knew where he'd gone. Some said he'd died in the storm. Others claimed he'd walked into the mist, his task complete. The lantern was gone, but the pilgrims kept coming. They spoke of a light that lingered on the mountain, not in flame, but in the way the path felt less lonely, less dark. And in the temple above, Hana, now a nun, taught the novices a simple truth she'd learned from a man with no words. Nothing lasts, but everything matters.